Breaking news, buckle up, because what you're about to hear makes every political scandal, every Fox News meltdown, and every accidental leaked audio look like kindergarten drama. Because apparently, according to Kimberly Guilfoyle, yes, that Kimberly, the queen of shouting into microphones like she's summoning dragons, Charlie Kirk's own wife didn't just plot against him. Sis straight up killed him for $200 million. I mean, hello? What timeline are we living in? The Hunger Games? House of Cards? Or some Walmart version true crime series that suddenly became real life? And before you roll your eyes and say, no way she said that, oh baby, Kimberly didn't just say it. She delivered it with the confidence of someone who thinks volume equals truth. And the way she spilled this tea? Like she'd been waiting years to drag ErikaKirk's name through the mud. But here's the real kicker. Whoa, why would she say this? What does she know? Who leaked what? And, why is the internet exploding with theories about secret life insurance policies, mystery offshore accounts, and a marriage that apparently had more cracks than the US economy? Stay exactly where you are. Because this story? Oh, it's about to get wild. Let's start from the moment this madness first hit the internet. Because trust me, the second Kimberly Guilfoyle opened her mouth, the entire political side of YouTube, Twitter, and that shady corner of Telegram where conspiracy theorists live, suddenly woke up like they'd been waiting their whole lives for this very moment. And of course, Kimberly wasn't calm, she wasn't subtle, she wasn't even trying to be diplomatic. No, she came in swinging like she was auditioning for a Real Housewives cast fight, accusing ErikaKirk of something so massive, so unhinged, so Hollywood-level dramatic that even people who can't stand Charlie Kirk paused their doom-scrolling and went, wait, what did she just say? Because according to Kimberly, Erika didn't just manipulate Charlie, didn't just control him, didn't just pull strings behind the scenes. She allegedly took out her own husband for a $200 million payout, like she was starring in some low-budget Netflix thriller where everyone pretends to be shocked but secretly saw it coming. And obviously people started asking the real questions. Why would Kimberly say something this insane? What does she think she knows? And why did she say it publicly like she wanted the entire world to watch this marriage implode in HD? This wasn't a slip. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't Kimberly mispronouncing something like she usually does. No, this was intentional. She dropped that accusation like she was tossing a grenade into a very expensive living room. But if you've been paying attention to Charlie and Erika's public image these past few years, then maybe this explosion isn't as random as it seems. Because let's be honest, that marriage hasn't been giving romance, stability, or even basic human warmth. It's been giving staged photos, weirdly forced political couple energy, and that awkward vibe you get when two influencers pretend they like each other for sponsorship money. People have always whispered about cracks in their relationship, but nobody ever imagined the cracks would turn into full-blown accusations of murder. And yet here we are. Now, let's dig into why this particular accusation stuck like glue online. Because ErikaKirk has never been the kind of political wife who looks soft, innocent, or unproblematic. No, she's always had that vibe that says she'd smile at you during brunch and then blackmail you before dessert. People remember the way she hovered around Charlie events like she was monitoring every interaction. They remember reports of her wanting control over his public appearances, who he talked to, what he said, and when he said it. Anonymous staff members have claimed for years that anytime Charlie disagreed with her, there'd be hours of tension backstage, followed by Erika emerging perfectly composed while Charlie looked like he'd just survived a hostage negotiation. So when Kimberly suddenly said very casually and very publicly that Erika supposedly had a financial motive worth $200 million, people didn't laugh. They didn't dismiss it. They didn't even say Kimberly was exaggerating. No, they said, you know what? This actually tracks. Because let's talk about that alleged money. According to totally unofficial leaked documents floating around political gossip channels, Charlie Kirk apparently had multiple overlapping life insurance policies. Policies that nobody even knew existed until whispers started surfacing last month. Policies allegedly signed under pressure, allegedly updated suddenly, and allegedly naming Erika as the sole beneficiary. Not business partners, not family members. Not the Turning Point organization that practically worships him. No, just Erika. And the total? $200 million. Now you're starting to see why the internet freaked out. Because if those documents are real, then the timing looks way too convenient. The updates allegedly happened during a period when Charlie was reportedly stressed, exhausted, and complaining privately that things at home were getting complicated. And right around that same time, Erika was suddenly attending financial meetings with him. Something she never used to do. Of course, Erika's supporters say these documents are fake, leaked by enemies, probably exaggerated, probably twisted. But here's the thing. When something is fake, it dies quickly. When something is ridiculous, it fades out. But when something feels true, or at least possible, it spreads like wildfire. And that's exactly what's happening. Now, people are rewatching old interviews where Charlie looks tense sitting next to Erika. They're analyzing body language like they're certified FBI profilers. They're clipping moments where Erika interrupts him, finishes his sentences, or pulls his arm subtly when he starts going off script. They're finding new angles to old drama. Like that one insider who claimed Charlie once tried to back out of a project that Erika wanted, and after a 2-hour private conversation, he suddenly changed his mind and pushed the project harder than ever. Manipulation? Pressure? Control? Or something darker? And that brings us back to Kimberly Guilfoyle, who clearly knew exactly what she was doing. Because this woman doesn't say anything by mistake. She thrives on attention. She thrives on chaos. She thrives on being the first person to throw gasoline on a rumor and then watch everyone else fight about it. But even Kimberly wouldn't drop a murder accusation unless she thought she had some kind of backup. And that's what freaked everybody out, because after she said it, she didn't walk it back. She didn't apologize. She didn't clarify. She didn't even blink. She doubled down. She said she had heard things. She hinted at private conversations. She implied that people around Charlie had been worried for a long time. And suddenly, the internet started whispering about a dinner a few weeks before Charlie supposedly disappeared, where witnesses claimed Erika looked unusually cold and distant, while Charlie looked anxious, sweaty, and jumpy. People who saw them said it wasn't normal marital tension. It was something heavier, something that made the whole table uncomfortable. And when you combine all that with the alleged money, the alleged insurance changes, the alleged private arguments, and the fact that Charlie hasn't been seen publicly in weeks, the story becomes too big to ignore. People want answers. They want clarity. They want to know why Kimberly said what she said. They want to know why Erika hasn't issued a strong denial. And most importantly, they want to know what really happened behind the scenes. Because nobody believes this was said casually. Nobody believes this is just political drama. And nobody believes this story is anywhere close to over. In fact, it feels like we're only scratching the surface, and everything is about to get even darker, even uglier, and even more chaotic, and darker it did get. Because right when people thought the rumors had reached their limit, that nothing else could possibly make this situation more ridiculous, more sinister, or more chaotic, that's exactly when the so-called leaked reports started showing up. Screenshots with grainy text, audio files with muffled voices, anonymous messages claiming to be from internal sources. And every single one of them pointed to the same thing. Charlie Kirk wasn't just missing. He was allegedly being investigated as if something criminal had happened behind closed doors. The wild part? None of these leaks were officially verified, but they spread like digital wildfire anyway. Because the internet doesn't need proof, it just needs a storyline juicy enough to trend. And this one? Oh, it had everything: money, power, marriage, betrayal, suspicious silence, and a political power couple whose private life was suddenly being dissected like it was a season finale cliffhanger. 1. Anonymous source claimed that Erika had been meeting financial advisors without Charlie for months, quietly restructuring accounts, shifting funds, and making calls that didn't match anything Charlie had publicly announced. Another claimed there were deleted messages between Erika and someone labeled CK Executor, raising alarms about why a supposedly healthy, active political figure needed someone planning what happens next so urgently. And then there was the most damning leak, an audio clip someone claimed was recorded at a Turning Point retreat, where a trembling male voice whispered, "If something happens to me, check Erika's files." Whether it was Charlie or someone imitating him didn't matter. The clip hit the internet like a nuclear blast. People reposted it thousands of times within hours. Thousands of times within hours. Politicians responded. Commentators reacted. And Erika's silence grew louder and louder. Meanwhile, Kimberly Guilfoyle stayed completely consistent in her chaos. Instead of backtracking, she went on another show and said she was not surprised by the leaks, hinting that there were people around Charlie who had been scared for him for a long time. She didn't name names, but she didn't have to. Her dramatic pauses, her raised eyebrows, her tone dripping with, "I know more than I'm saying," made sure the message landed perfectly. People began digging through their own suspicions. They started connecting dots that maybe weren't meant to be connected, but sounded believable enough. Old acquaintances came forward claiming Erika had always been territorial, ambitious, strategic. Someone from a church group said, Erika once bragged that she would never let anyone take Charlie away from her. And now that quote was being twisted into something more disturbing, but the most explosive fake investigative twist came when a supposed internal Turning Point memo leaked showing that Erika had allegedly pressured board members to increase Charlie's life insurance through the organization's benefits program. The memo claimed there were concerns about unusually high beneficiary value percentages and questioned why Erika personally contacted HR about policy updates. Of course, Turning Point immediately called the memo fabricated, but the denial didn't matter. People had already decided the story was true. And when the public wants something to be true, facts become irrelevant. Social media erupted with theories. Some users argued Erika had been jealous of Charlie's rising public influence and wanted control of his legacy. Some said she was planning to leave him and needed a safety net. Others claimed she had a shadowy investor backing her who promised to make her the new face of a conservative empire if she removed liabilities. It didn't help that Erika kept canceling public appearances while claiming she needed privacy during a difficult time. Privacy from what? Difficulty caused by what? That's all people needed to spiral further. Even regular people with no political interest started commenting. She always looked like she had something to hide. Charlie was scared of her. You could tell. I knew something was off about them. This is what happens when a scandal becomes entertainment. Everyone suddenly becomes a body language expert, a relationship analyst, and a criminal investigator. And the story kept growing because every hour brought a new twist. Supposed neighbor claimed they heard a loud argument days before Charlie went missing. Someone else claimed Erika had called a private security company the week before and requested increased perimeter checks, which people spun into theories of her preparing for an incident she already knew was coming. A former assistant allegedly wrote an anonymous email saying Erika would get rid of anything or anyone standing between her and her goals. Was the email real? Who knows? Did people care? Absolutely not. They screenshotted it, circled it in red, zoomed in, slowed it down, analyzed it, reposted it, turned it into TikToks, and treated it like a confession. And as if the internet wasn't already on fire, that's when the most dramatic part hit, an entire thread claiming to have information about Erika's spending habits. According to the anonymous poster, Erika had been purchasing things far beyond their known income. Luxury trips, unreported real estate, strange cash movements, jewelry bought under someone else's name. And allegedly, she made one suspicious move months before the scandal. She transferred a large sum to an offshore account. Allegedly, everything was alleged. But the allegations were so dramatic, so cinematic, so perfectly placed that they sounded like spoilers for a crime documentary that hadn't been filmed yet. Then came the quote from a financial auditor who claimed Erika was preparing for a life transition long before Charlie disappeared. People found that phrase chilling. Preparing for a life transition? What life transition? And in classic internet fashion, the more questions people asked, the more answers they invented. By now, people were acting like Erika had already been tried, convicted, sentenced, and featured in a Netflix series. Meanwhile, Erika's family attempted a weak defense that did nothing to calm the storm. They released a generic statement saying the family was focused on hope, healing, and faith, which only made people angrier. Hope for what? Healing from what? Faith in what? Why wasn't she specifically denying the murder accusations? Why wasn't she outright saying the insurance rumors were lies? Why avoid the direct accusations unless she had something to hide? And that's exactly where the public locked in. They believed the silence was guilt. They believed the leaks were real. They believed Kimberly's dramatic storytelling. And they believed something terrible must have happened behind those pristine political family photos. The entire scandal turned into an online investigation run by people who had no evidence, no credentials, and no restraint. And with every new rumor, the pressure on Erika grew heavier, the questions got louder, and the story kept spiraling into something even darker. And just when it looked like the chaos had reached its peak, the fallout began loud, messy, and way too dramatic to be contained. Because once a scandal gets this big, politicians start panicking, organizations start distancing themselves, and the internet starts demanding action like it's participating in some global courtroom. The first wave of fallout hit Turning Point USA itself, as members allegedly began asking whether they should publicly support Erika, condemn her, or pretend they had never met her at all. Internal messages, whether real or fabricated, claimed board members were terrified of choosing the wrong side and losing donors. Some wanted to issue a strong statement. Others suggested going silent. A few even argued that they should investigate Erika themselves before the government got involved, which only made the entire situation look even more suspicious. And then, of course, the government did get involved, or at least people online insisted it did. Rumors swirled that federal investigators were quietly reviewing Charlie's finances, his travel logs, his digital footprint, and any possible medical records leading up to his disappearance. One viral thread claimed that agents had visited Turning Point offices to request documents, though no one could confirm who these agents were or what they actually took. But confirmation didn't matter. The idea alone was enough to spark panic. Political commentators on rival networks seized the moment, calling the situation a moral implosion, a reflection of desperation, and the kind of story that destroys entire careers. Meanwhile, conservative influencers fought among themselves, some defending Erika as a victim of misinformation, others using the scandal to score clout by acting like they were breaking exclusive details. Every few hours, a new insider emerged claiming to know the truth. One insisted Charlie had been planning to leave Erika and file for divorce. Another swore Erika had been overheard discussing financial independence in a way that sounded ominous. Someone else claimed Charlie had secretly been seeking legal advice about restructuring his assets to prevent them from being misused. None of these claims were verified, but they spread because they fit the narrative everyone wanted to believe. The public backlash, meanwhile, was relentless. Online petitions demanded a full investigation into Erika. Comment sections flooded with accusations. Users posted long threads analyzing her old Instagram captions, claiming her tone hinted at something dark. Someone even dug up a 3-year-old tweet where she joked about getting what she's owed, and instantly it was treated like a foreshadowed confession. Even harmless photos, her smiling at an event holding Charlie's hand, or posing with friends, were now being reinterpreted through a sinister lens. People slowed down videos, zoomed into her eyes, analyzed her body language, and confidently declared she was calculating, cold, or emotionally detached. It didn't stop there. Rumors of a resignation began circulating when someone posted a blurry image, claiming to show Erika walking out of a boardroom in tears. Another image showed an unidentified man carrying files out of the Turning Point building, and viewers immediately decided those files must be evidence of Erika's wrongdoing. Then came a fake, but extremely viral, leaked email where a Turning Point staff member supposedly referred to Erika as a liability. True or not, that one message alone triggered days of commentary, memes, and conspiracy theories. Eventually, even people who usually stayed out of political drama started weighing in. Analysts from mainstream networks began discussing the optics of Erika's silence. Comedians joked about the scandal on late-night shows. Podcasters dissected the timeline like they were covering a true crime case. And when podcasters get involved, that's when you know the story has become too big to contain. Then came the so-called official investigation, which nobody could confirm was actually official. Some claimed the local police had opened a case. Others insisted the FBI was involved. A few said private investigators hired by donors were digging for answers behind the scenes. Every new rumor fueled the next, creating an avalanche of speculation that left Erika looking guiltier with every passing hour. Even the absence of real updates became suspicious. People began insisting the silence meant a cover-up. Some claimed the government was protecting Erika, others argued Turning Point was hiding the truth to avoid a financial collapse. No matter what happened, it was interpreted in a way that made the story even more dramatic. And through all of this, Erika's behavior did not help. Instead of calming the situation, she went full ghost. No interviews, no statements, no public appearances, no attempts at clarity. Her silence wasn't neutral. It was gasoline on the fire. And naturally, people made their own assumptions about why she wasn't speaking. Some said she was preparing a legal defense. Some said she was negotiating with attorneys. Some claimed she was working behind the scenes to secure her assets before things exploded further. Others fully believed she was hiding because she knew investigators were closing in on her. With each passing day, more evidence appeared. A neighbor claimed they saw unfamiliar cars outside the Kirk residence. Someone else claimed Erika's phone had been turned off for days, which absolutely had to mean something criminal was happening. A former photographer said there were strange vibes between Erika and Charlie months ago. A barista swore Erika once gave Charlie a look that could freeze water, and that clip alone became a meme. It didn't matter how ridiculous the claims were. Everything became part of the narrative. As the situation spiraled, politicians who once praised Erika began distancing themselves. Invitations to events expired. Partnerships were reevaluated. Posts featuring her were quietly deleted. People who once claimed Erika was the future were suddenly claiming they never really trusted her. And when major donors allegedly began expressing concern about Turning Point's stability, internal panic reached an all-time high. Financial advisors reportedly warned the organization that even whispers of insurance fraud or foul play could destabilize their donor base. Whether that advisory was real or not became irrelevant. It made the story feel even more intense. And at the center of this storm was still the biggest question. Where was Charlie? Why wasn't he speaking up? Why had no video surfaced? Why hadn't he appeared on any live stream? Why was the only voice in this entire scandal coming from Kimberly Guilfoyle of all people? And that question alone kept fueling the speculation. Because people decided that Charlie's silence was the final piece of circumstantial evidence against Erika, the fallout became so massive that some influencers openly predicted Erika's arrest. Others claimed she had fled the country. Someone said they saw her at an airport. Someone else said she was with attorneys preparing a public statement. Someone else said she was medically unwell. The point wasn't the truth, the point was the story, and by now, the story had evolved far beyond Kimberly's initial accusation. It had become a digital monster feeding on speculation, fear, political rivalry, and the internet's obsession with drama. Whether Erika was innocent or guilty no longer mattered. The narrative had already decided her fate. And in the world of viral fake news scandals, once the public forms a conclusion, good luck changing their minds. Charlie was silent. Erika was hiding. Kimberly was talking. And the world was watching, waiting for the next explosion. So now the question that the entire internet is arguing about comes. Down to this. Do you really think ErikaKirk is the innocent, misunderstood wife caught in a political hurricane she never asked for? Or do you think Kimberly Guilfoyle accidentally told the truth that everyone else was too scared to say out loud? Because at this point, the silence, the vanishing acts, the mysterious financial whispers, the missing husband, the leaked audio, the questionable timing, the dramatic disappearances, the disappearing statements, everything is pointing toward something way bigger than anyone expected. And whether this ends with a confession, a press conference, a political meltdown, or some Netflix-style twist nobody saw coming. One thing is certain, this story is far from over. And the next chapter is going to hit harder than every rumor you've heard so far. But here's where you come in. I want to know what you think. Do you believe the accusations? Do you think Kimberly slipped up or exposed something massive? Do you think Erika is hiding, plotting, or being framed? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get this conversation spinning. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next explosive truth that the world isn't ready for yet.